Hey, welcome back to Storytelling 101. And this week we are going to jump into Unit 2, Lesson 2 Character Dynamics. The reason why I like to craft character dynamics is so I will have a clear understanding of how the characters feel about one another. So if I have a clear understanding about how the characters feel about one another, that will make it easier for me to create conflict. So if you remember last week, I gave you a full rundown about the character's Enneagram type. So this week, when I was preparing for this class, I went to the Enneagram Institute website and then I researched their section on Enneagrams and relationships. And then I took the information that I got from the Enneagrams and relationships section. Then I came back and then I merged that information with the backstories of the characters. And boom, we got a dynamic. It was a lot of work. And this was just the beginning. But just to let you all know, writing is hard, but it is very satisfying when you finish something, I promise. Well, that's not the point. Today, we're going to go over the characters' dynamics. We're going to see how the characters feel about one another, and the opinions that they have on their fellow characters are very vast. There are some characters that are loved by some while despised by others. There are some dynamics that are a little toxic, and then there are some relationships that are one sided, where one person thinks that this person is amazing, while on the other side, this person thinks this person is annoying. But that is human nature. That is humanness. Sometimes we're going to have relationships that aren't perfect. But I'm going to stop my rambling and we're going to get started with, of course, Derek.
So, Lucy is Derek's little sister. They are a team. Lucy is his confidant, and she is the person most in tune. He is most in tune with. He is, she is his swing first, ask questions later person. So basically, by that, that means if he were to walk into a room and see her in an altercation with someone, and it looks like it's escalating, he's not going to try to diffuse it. He's going to beat up whoever's threatening her. And I feel like every character has that one person where it's just like, "Ooh, I'm not going to try to figure out what's going on. If you messed with her, then you got to go," which is a lot because he's a very chill human being. Um, he doesn't understand her thought processes all the time, but he trusts that she's brilliant enough to make things happen. But he quietly wishes that she was a little less brave, especially when it comes to her like overworking herself and always trying to come up with new business ventures and finding ways for them to build wealth. He just wishes that she wanted stability like him. Well, she does want stability, but like in a different way. But that's a conversation for later. But at the end of the day, Derek will do anything necessary to make sure that his sister is okay. Next, we have Derek and Nikki. Derek loves Nikki. He sees her like a baby sister. He loves how hopeful and kind she is, and he doesn't want her to lose that. So when he's around her, the pain of not being around his little brother, who is the same age as her, hurts a little less. He respects her work ethic, but he thinks that she needs to chill a little bit. She goes a little too hard. And they officially bonded whenever she had a tough day and was withdrawn from everyone. And he didn't know her well enough, but he saw that she was obviously struggling. So he took her outside and asked her if she was okay. And then she burst into tears and he gave her a hug. And all she could say was, like, it was too much. It's too much. And he didn't know what was going on with her, but he knows that something is wrong. So, what we will learn later is when she had her breakdown was around the time that her dad started chemotherapy, and she was having a really tough time with taking care of not only her schooling but her dad and helping with like the household and stuff. And then she just had a moment where she was like, I don't know if I can do this. He does not know that, but she was just having a really, really tough time. But because of that, he feels the need to be protective of her. He knows that something's wrong, but she doesn't really talk about it. So he really just looks out for her. It's a very sweet relationship. Oh, shoot. I did not talk about the quotes. Let's go back to the quotes. I want to have quotes at the bottom of it, which is something that's going to encapsulate their relationship. So, for Derek, something that he will often say to Lucy is, I'm your brother. I will always worry about you. And for Nikki is just take things one day at a time, Derek. So when he tells her that, he's often going to tell her whenever she is starting to worry about all the things that she has to accomplish, he just tells her to not think about the full thing, just think about what's in front of you, and then just take it one day at a time. All right, next we have James and Derek. They they aren't exactly friends, but James has his respect. He's passionate about opera and he's devoted to his craft. Derek doesn't really have passions. He's just, he just, what he's passionate about is getting his brother back and keeping his family together. So when he sees James having something that makes him excited about life, he respects it. James is the best person to sell a drink special because he will make it sound like an experience that cannot be missed. Then when James is having a tough day, he behaves emotionally erratic, confrontational, and short tempered. And Derek, again, he's a peacemaker. He has no desire to hear people just blab about what makes them angry. Um, and then also, James is the person who will brag about a lot of things that Derek just doesn't care about. So he talks about people that he might have met in the opera slash theater world or new opportunities or an accomplishment he just had. And Derek really doesn't care about any of it, but he sees that it's important to him, so he'll just be polite and nod, which goes into the quote, That's great, buddy. Next, Derek and Trey. Trey is Derek's best friend. It's his favorite person to go along with because he rarely stresses him out. Trey is an outgoing human being and he's always trying to find a new adventure. So Derek will be like, oh, cool, you have an idea? Let's do that idea. He admires how Trey is always choosing the joy, no matter how bleak things are getting. Trey is the Phineas to his Ferb, and for anyone who hasn't seen the show, Phineas is and Ferb are stepbrothers, and Phineas is always the guy who comes up with the idea of what they're going to do today. And Ferb is the quiet stepbrother who is always down for whatever. So Trey is the Phineas, and he is the Ferb. He reminds him that no matter how hard life gets, things can be good, which is something that is necessary for Derek because he has had a hard life. Um, at work, they tag team. Trey hypes up the people and gets them excited about the drinks, and Derek makes them. Derek has had a bunch of really fun experiences because of Trey, but when he doesn't want to go out, Trey will kind of like, I don't want to say strong arm him, but kind of like, come on, man, let's go, let's go, let's go. He'll peer pressure him into going out. And yeah, he doesn't want to disappoint his friends, so he won't. And of course, the thing is, his quote, I'm down for whatever. Um, Derek and Anna. Anna is Lucy's friend, and he appreciates how kind and loyal she is to his sister. And she is someone who will take care of everyone to the best of his abilities, but to the best of her abilities. But he does not like how Anna oversteps. When they host get togethers, she will always come with food and stays to help clean up, which isn't a problem. But he just wishes that she could just relax a little bit. At work, she's incredibly efficient, but she will try to do your job if she feels she can do it better than you. Or if she feels, I didn't write this, but if she feels as if you need her help when you very well may not need it. He wishes that she would just mind her own business sometimes, but he doesn't want to argue. Next is Nate. Derek likes Nate. Nate is new to the staff. He thinks he's smart, quick witted, courageous, and really chill. But he also knows that he seems really lonely. So, because he's lonely, he will invite him to hang out with him and Trey. Um, After a while, he starts to notice that Nate isn't exactly chill. He seems to argue just for the sake of arguing, but he's not going to push back because it doesn't seem like it's worth the argument. And that's coming from Derek's perspective. He's not going to argue with Nate and be like, dude, just stop. He's not going to do that because it's not worth the headache. He doesn't feel like it. He likes Nate as a person and he's trying to figure out if he likes working with Nate. So he's like, okay, maybe this is someone I could hang out with outside of work, but I don't know if I like you at work. And Nate being there makes him miss Johnny. And we'll talk more about Johnny when we get into side characters, but Nate just makes him feel like, oh, dang, Johnny isn't here. Um, his quote is, dude, don't be a jerk. And the way he's gonna say it is just like, oh, dude, don't be a jerk. And I feel like we all have that person, like when they're calling you out on stuff, it's just like, stop making me have to talk to you when you're an adult. That is what Derek has. It's just like, I don't want to deal with it. But dude, don't be a jerk. Derek and Faustino. Okay, so Faustino is like a brother to Derek, and Faustino is the person who helps him figure out how he's really feeling. And normally Faustino does that by asking him the right questions. He admires Faustino's ability to counter his problems without shutting down. Derek has difficulty with that. Um, they are team mixologists. They both work together, and again, they met in bartending school. So they've worked together for 3 years at this point. So of course, they understand how to work with one another without needing to have those discussions. But sometimes the seriousness of their understanding can be overwhelming. Derek can't BS him. He can't. He can't act like everything is fine with him whenever Faustino knows him so well. In the beginning of the action, and when I mean the beginning of the action, I mean like whenever we start writing where the series starts off, they are a bit distant, no beef at all, but they both just have their separate issues, and that concentration on each of their issues just kind of added a bit of a divide. Faustino is the only person who he is 100% honest with, and that even includes his sister. But we'll talk more about that in the future. Next is Derek and Rhonda. Derek has mad respect for Rhonda. He loves her determination. He was one of her first hires at the restaurant, so he has her trust. He knows her well in what her preferences are when it comes to the operation. She has shown him and his sister great kindness over the past couple of years. She even invites them to holiday functions every year. He thinks she's a good person, but he does wish that she didn't have a grin and bear it kind of attitude. Like when it comes to David, their manager, and as well as the what's the name of those patrons of the restaurant. Yes, some of them may act out, and he wishes that she just wouldn't take it all the time. Does that make him a hypocrite? 100%. But he doesn't like that she takes a lot of the nonsense when she doesn't have to. Well, when she shouldn't have to. If she wasn't worried so much about the restaurant, well, like the optics of the restaurant, she wouldn't take all the nonsense from David and the patrons of the restaurant. So, yeah, Derek and Rhonda have a good bond, and he's definitely going to show up for her. And of course, the quote is, "How long have I known you?" So, you know how whenever you have a good working relationship with someone and then they try to tell you to do something, or it could even be a sibling and they're trying to give you directions, and you're just like, how long have I known you? Like, I know what you're going to want. I know what you like. I know how you think. Why would you think I wouldn't know that you would want that? And that is kind of how they work. If you hear rain outside, it's because it is storming. I hope it relaxes you as you learn. Now, on to Lucy and Derek's relationship. To Lucy, Derek is the most important person in the world to her. He's her roommate. She feels immense guilt for the sacrifices he made to put her through school. Everything she does is to ensure that he'll be able to live a more comfortable life, as well as be able to care for her brother Ryan. She worries about Derek all the time because she knows that he's sad about their lot in life. She's also worried about the business ventures that she's pursuing is causing a rift between them, and she does her best to help her brother understand her line of thinking when she's making decisions, but he knows that her mind works differently. The quote that I use is, "I know it doesn't look like it now, but this could change our lives, Lucy." She's basically just trying to get him to relax and be like, okay, I know that this seems like a lot, and I know that you're nervous, and I know that you're overwhelmed, but when this pays off, we'll be able to live a life to where we won't have to be so afraid of losing everything like we lost before. All right, next is Lucy and Nikki. Lucy loves Nikki. Nikki is a girl after her own heart. She's hardworking. She has great attention to detail. She's responsible and respectful. And Lucy tries her best to get Nikki to loosen up because she doesn't smile as much anymore. And she's wondering if it's like a teen moodiness thing. And Nikki reminds her how much she misses being a big sister. So she takes it upon herself to challenge Nikki as the youngest member of the group, well, of the staff. And when she challenges her, it's like sending staff members who might be a little more difficult her way, not like in a bad way, but just like to help her rise to the occasion, giving her a little more responsibility, teaching her things here and there. That is what Lucy does. And her quote is, "I'm confident you can do it." So Nikki is one of Lucy is one of Nikki's biggest fans. All right, next up we have Lucy and James. Lucy is James's emotional support coworker. They both deal with insecurity and uncertainty in relationships, and Lucy recognizes that in James, so she reminds him all the time how great he's doing, and she asks him about um, his schooling. So, like, he studies opera. She always assigns eccentric people to his section to connect him with kindred spirits, and when he feels misunderstood, she's normally like the one to help him like find balance. So if he gets a little overwhelmed or frustrated, she's normally the one to converse with him to make him realize that it's not all that bad or to offer a different perspective. And he tends to take her for granted, and she knows that he likes her brother more than her, but she just takes it in stride, but it does hurt her feelings a little bit. Um, so the quote that I have is, "Your feelings are valid, but let me offer you a different perspective." She knows that James and how he moves can rub people the wrong way, but she knows that he has the ability to be the coolest person ever. So she's trying to give him the tools to, grow into that, as well as help him navigate other people. All right, Lucy and Trey. So they have a complex relationship. She appreciates that Trey helps her brother get his mind off of things. Her brother was extremely checked out before he met Trey. He hardly smiled and he wasn't making moves towards finding their brother, and he was stagnant in his sphere. But when he met Trey, he opened up more. He started laughing again and started getting into shenanigans like he did when he was a kid. But at the same time, her brother is now going in the opposite direction. Instead of being like super checked out, he doesn't seem to be taking anything seriously right now, and she feels like instead of being avoidant by himself, he's hiding out with Trey. And she's like, okay, maybe everything doesn't have to be a party all the time. And she just wishes that Trey would take things seriously once in a while as well. Um, okay. And her quote is, "Do you guys really have to do this now?" Lucy. So she likes Trey. She likes that he makes his brother smile again, but she just wishes that Trey wasn't so carefree because now her brother is being avoided with his friend rather than by himself. Next is Lucy and Anna. All right. Anna is Lucy's best friend, and Lucy is a German shepherd for Anna because no one can take advantage for her. Anna is such a sweet girl that people try to run over her, and Lucy will be the muscle in the situation if she feels like people are taking advantage of Anna. She listens to Anna's countless dating horror stories because Anna is a romantic and she wants a great love story. But here she is, just continuing to kiss a lot of frogs, but that's her girl and she's going to stick beside her. But she quietly hopes that she will wake up one day and choose her childhood best friend slash roommate, Johnny, because she knows that Johnny has what it takes to sweep the girl off her feet, but they're just friends. She's hoping for something different. Anna is the person who listens to her practice pitches for every business idea, and they have a bottle of wine every Sunday night after closing, and once a month they have a potluck. Lucy and Derek have a potluck, and Anna always shows up and helps. She makes her laugh. They love the same books and movies, and they can depend on each other. And Lucy is no Anna is the person that Lucy depends on the most besides her brother. All right, next is Lucy and Nate. Oh wait, I didn't do the quote. My bad, my bad, my bad. White or red, Lucy. Um, white or red pretty much means the wines. So when they both had like a really tough day or they have a spill session, it's white or red. Now we'll move on to Lucy and Nate. So Lucy and Nate. At first, she finds him selfish, and when he finishes his job, he will go about his business and he won't support others. He is very cold to others and he brushes people off all the time. But as time goes on, she learns that he's very shy and doesn't know how to make friends. Once he spends more time with Anna, he starts to open up a little bit to other people. And then she finds him funny, smart, and kind. And he's very practical and he helps her with ideas for her businesses. So, he's able to take the expertise he had from his old life to help her out. So, what are your thoughts, Lucy? That is something that she starts to use. I mean, she starts to ask him more often because she recognizes what he has to offer and she trusts his guidance. Next is Lucy and Faustino. Lucy respects Faustino. He is the reason why she and her brother have jobs at the restaurant. He's professional and knowledgeable about his work. Lucy appreciates his routine and his attention to detail. But he does make her feel insecure about her idiosyncrasies. If she starts to ramble, he will cut her off and tell her to get to the point. He also isn't the one to discuss an issue or collaborate. So once he has it in his mind to do something, he's going to do it and he's not going to look for your input or your thoughts because he has all of the information he needs in his head and he's not going to look for someone else to give him input. And the quote is, "And you're walking away, Lucy." So whenever he's done with the conversation, he'll just walk off. Next is Lucy and Rhonda. Rhonda saw something in Lucy before she did. She allowed her to become a hostess after waiting tables for a year. Lucy admires Rhonda's leadership abilities, quick thinking, and conflict resolution. She also appreciates her kindness to them outside of work. She knows that they lost their parents, so she looks in on them sometimes and she always invites them to Christmas. Lucy really appreciates Rhonda showing up for her, so she does the same thing for her. And there are even moments where she has babysat for Rhonda whenever she's had date nights or emergencies. And the quote is, "Thank you for believing in me." And I really think that it would be great if Lucy were to do the same. I mean, were to say this consistently. Like every time Rhonda takes her insights or takes her opinions or gives her a challenge or says, "Oh, I knew you could do it." I know that means the world to Lucy, a girl who didn't really get an opportunity to have a mother in her adulthood. So she loves Rhonda. Next is Nikki and Derek. Well, next is Nikki, and first is Nikki and Derek. Derek is the only person on the staff who seems to recognize when she's off her game. She appreciates that he doesn't pry when she struggles, but he always seems to have chocolate waiting in the corner of the counter when she walks by. So if she's having a bad day and she seems to be stressed, he will put a piece of chocolate, the fancy chocolate too, on the corner of the counter as she approaches. So I envision scenes where she's walking forward and then she'll just smile at him and grab a piece of chocolate and pop it in her mouth and continue. She never had a brother before, and he seems to be the best at it. So she watches him with Lucy, and she sees how good he is at it. He gives her ample opportunity to talk about her problems. She hasn't taken it yet because she's an Enneagram one, and she likes to fix her problems on her own. But but after her breakdown the previous year, she knows that he knows that something is up. But he tends to like pull her back, so like get her to relax a little bit whenever she starts going into superhero mode. And the quote is, "Thanks. I needed this." Okay, Nikki and Lucy. Nikki thinks Lucy is great. She appreciates how on top of things Lucy is. Lucy is the ultimate problem finder. Lucy is outgoing and she makes her smile. She appreciates how Lucy trusts her to get things done. So, the intentionality that Lucy is having by challenging Nikki to get better, Nikki appreciates that. Lucy seems to be the only person on staff besides Rhonda who knows what she's capable of. So she has a little bit of a sidebar. She has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder for being the youngest on staff. And she wants to be taken seriously. And she feels like Lucy does that for her. So the line that she says to Lucy is, "Got it." Nikki and James. Nikki finds James dramatic and self involved. She believes that not everything has to be a production. She has like a just put the fries in the bag mentality. She believes that he is whiny and attention seeking, and she tunes out his droning on the opera and his complaints about others not seeing his genius. For the most part, she ignores him at work. So, the line that I have, our customers want their food before closing, I can envision her moving past him and he'll be like, slow down. And she'd be like, well, our customers want their food before closing. And that's like a dig back. So, Nikki and Trey. Nikki finds Trey very funny and creative. He may be unconventional, but he thinks quickly on his feet, which helps in the chaotic environment. She also appreciates his ability to fill in wherever needed. He's a Swiss Army knife employee. But whenever she's stressed and overwhelmed, she isn't down for the shenanigans. He's hardly ever serious, which could be a godsend on some days. So, like, for example, if she's having a bad day or upset about her family, but on some days where she's stressed, it is irritating to her. So, she doesn't bring valid concerns to him because she doesn't think he would ever take it seriously. And her line is, never mind. So, whenever she really needs help with something and he's getting into his Trey mood, she is going to just do it on her own. Next is Nikki and Anna. Anna is Nikki's favorite coworker. Anna will cover your blind spots if necessary. Anna shares Nikki's devotion to working hard and doing it the right way. Anna doesn't make your job harder. In fact, she is always looking to make your job easier. Nikki appreciates Anna's kindness, responsibility, loyalty, and compassion. I'm sorry, while I'm recording this, there is like this big button that says recording, and it was over that word of compassion. But I'm just a girl. All right, the line is, you're the best, Anna. So since Nikki is a 1 and Anna is a 2, they both have the desire to help people, but for different things. Nikki is more like, I'm doing the right thing because it's the right thing, while Anna is, I'm doing the right thing so I could be loved. But, since they're both helping and doing the right thing, then, Nikki is good with her. So again, you're the best, Anna. Next is Nikki and Nate. At first, Nikki finds Nate to be self-absorbed, self-interested, stubborn, hot-headed, and dismissive. He treats her like a child, and that angers her. She takes that as disrespectful to her experience and her abilities. As a worker, she finds him to be efficient and a hard worker. As time goes on, she starts to see him in a new light. He is knowledgeable, loyal, and courageous. So the quote is, that's not standard procedure. And I can envision this happening whenever he's trying to cut corners, when he first starts trying to get things out quickly. And she's like, that's not standard procedure. And then he'll brush her off, and then she'll be like, this guy gotta go. No, I don't think she'd be like that, but I can see her being like, are you serious? All right, next, Nikki and Faustino. Nikki and Faustino do not interact much. Nikki can't serve alcohol, and Faustino isn't social. But she respects his work ethic and preparedness. So she'll walk up, could you please bring a lemon drop to table 9? And Nikki. And that's it. That's all she'll say. They don't really have much to talk about because, again, she doesn't handle alcohol. So she's most likely going to like hand him the order and move on. Meanwhile, Derek is going out of his way to interact with her. Faustino doesn't do the same for her. She doesn't take it personally. She's like, okay, we're just here to do a job. Next is Nikki and Rhonda. Rhonda has Nikki's eternal gratitude. She took a chance on Nikki and hired her at this established restaurant. So Nikki is 16 and a half. She was able to be hired on as a busser. So collecting tables, washing dishes, all of that. That's what she was able to be hired as at 15 and a half. But unfortunately, that whenever you're an established restaurant that is popular and well liked, getting jobs like that will be a little more difficult. And she wanted to get a job that would pay her well. So she got the busser job, and Rhonda did gave her an opportunity that not many people would give. So she loves Rhonda. Nikki works hard to adhere to Rhonda's high standard. Nikki trusts her implicitly and follows the rules without problem. Rhonda is the only person on the whole staff who knows about her dad's cancer. So, that being said, since Rhonda knows this, she's going to check in with Nikki. So, I'm okay, I promise, Nikki, that's going to be her. So, in moments where she might be a little overwhelmed or moving really quickly or going into hyperactivity to make sure everything's good, Rhonda will notice and Rhonda will check in. And of course, I'm okay, I promise. Next is James and Derek. So, James admires Derek. He's kind, accepting, and cool. He just exists and people gravitate to him. And that's just something that James wishes he had. He envies that natural charisma. He wishes that James wasn't so laid back. Like, if he could be a little more passionate about something instead of being like, huh, that's cool, buddy. And then also, he wants him to stop being so avoidant, especially with problems. Like, be mad about something, please. And he quietly competes with Derek. And by that, I mean he wants to get Derek to think he's cool too. So he's always name dropping, giving information about things that he's done today, or people that he's met, or a new opportunity he's had, or a new place he's going to, like all of that. And Derek doesn't seem to care. So when he says, "You won't believe what's happened today," that's him trying to get Derek to be impressed with him. Still hasn't worked yet. Next is James and Lucy. James finds Lucy to be an acquired taste, which should be consumed in low doses. He finds her neurotic, scatterbrained, awkward, and very uncool. She can be a bit overbearing with him, and at the same time, she always seems to know what to say on the worst days. He is also the only person on staff who cares about his opera. She may not be his preferred sibling, but she has taste. His line is, I swear, Lucy, I'm about to lose it." And that could be him when he's about to go off on someone. Next is James and Nikki. She reminds him of his brother, perfect and well loved. James sees her as rigid, cold, and performative. She always is rushing around the restaurant and showing off, but she doesn't take any time to make the patrons feel special. She tries to do everything as if she's trying to prove something, and he can't help but compare himself to her. They're complete opposites. And James sees how Nikki is just in and out, in and out, in and out with people. That could be very off putting to him because he feels like she's not taking care. And then his line, "Not everything is a race." But, we'll talk more about conflict next week. Yeah. James and Trey. James thinks Trey is so cool. And when he found out that Trey was a classical pianist, oh, it was a wrap. He loves his whimsical fashion and his confidence. And when there's an issue at school, he will go to Trey for advice. James finds him to be the most interesting person on staff, and he wishes he were more like him. So the question is, who are you? Like, those people who randomly just have, like, just random side quests where you're talking to them and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a certified deep sea scuba diver." And you're like, "What? Sir, you work in accounting. What do you mean?" No shade to the accountants, but like some people really just be dropping random lore and they look over and you're like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, and I went running in the with the Bulls last week." That's where you were? You said you went to Madrid, yeah, to run with the Bulls. Like, that is the kind of attitude that James has towards Trey. Because there's going to be moments where we're going to find out about random Trey lore to where it's going to be like, who are you? All right, James and Anna. Anna has a soft spot in her heart for James, and she notices when he feels down on himself, and she will give him hugs and always show him that she is happy to see him. That being said, he pretends to be embarrassed by this coddling, but he appreciates how she sees him. She goes to his performances, and she feels like a sister to him. And his line is, I just saw you yesterday, Anna. I just saw you yesterday. If you're always happy to see me and you're hugging me like we hadn't seen each other 20 minutes ago, it's like, I just saw you yesterday. You don't have to hug me so much. All right, next is James and Nate. James finds Nate interesting. He recognized his refined taste and understated elegance immediately. He's intimidated by his presence and ability to effortlessly control the room. And once James gets to know Nate more, he senses a kindred spirit who understands his internal struggle. So, yeah, James respects Nate. And the line is good choice. So that could be for his choice of wine, that could be for his choice of music, that could just, he's like, oh, this guy has taste. Good choice. All right, next we have James and Faustino. James thinks Faustino is so interesting. He doesn't say much, but when he does, it's always compelling and insightful. He tries to know him more, but Faustino's replies are often dry. He's probably in the zone. So he's like, I really want to know this guy, but I understand that he doesn't want to talk that much because he has a job to do, and that's cool. So the line is a penny for your thoughts. And, Faustino is a thinker. So, of course, he's going to want to know what Faustino is thinking. All right. And then we have James and Rhonda. Rhonda has James's utmost respect. She cares about presentation. She has the grace of a leading lady. Rhonda appreciates his contributions, and she appreciates her hard work and consistent preparedness. He would do anything for her. So he is obsessed with his boss, but not like in a bad way. It's just like, oh, she's so cool. I want her to think I'm cool too. And so he'll say things like, what can I do, milady? James. He's a total thespian, so of course he's going to be very artistic with how he moves through the restaurant.